Here we go. Spinning the wheel.
Here we go. Spinning that wheel. And it is the
NFC South.
Ooh, what a mid-division, the NFC South. Oh, yeah, here we go.
We're getting out the mid-divisions early.
I like that. There we go. All right, NFC South is gone.
There it goes.
There we go. NFC South. So that is the Saints. That is the Buccaneers.
Mm-hmm.
That is the Falcons.
Yep.
And that is one more team that I am not remembering right now, but I will remember in a little bit. Just give me a little bit of time to stall, and I will have the team for you. And we're going to potentially say this team, and it's the Carolina Panthers. There you go. So
There we go.
the NFC South.
Bottom up.
Yeah, let's start bottom up.
The worst team in the NFL.
The New Orleans Saints. They will be the worst team in the NFL. There goes Jess. They will be.
Drink.
The Saints will be the worst team in the NFL this year. They potentially will have Tyler Shuck as their quarterback. They brought in a new coach, Kellen Moore. I think they are kind of committing to the tank. That's why I think they hired a new coach. They're like, listen, we're going to need an overhaul. You're going to be here for years. It's not going to be easy. Mm-hmm. You're going to be here. So they hired a new guy who they like and who they're definitely going to keep around to see if they can make it work. They are in cap hell. They just lost Derek Carr for his rest of his career. He retired. And they lost him last year due to injuries. They were awful. That's it. Rashid Shaheed was a bright spot. Chris Olave had concussions left and right. He might retire at some point. If he gets another one, he might be the next Tua. And they're just not that good. They had the first, 2 weeks of the season, they were electric.
Is my guy still there? The running back?
Kamara.
Alvin Kamara?
Yeah.
He is still there. How old is he? 29, 30? I think he might be 30 now, going into his 30 season.
Maybe I'll get him a third time as a Yellowstoner.
Maybe you can. He's only got to do anything on that offense, so you got good value right there. Not going to lie. He's 29. So, he's an older running back. Honestly, they need help everywhere. So this is going to be a year, the next year coming up, where they are just absolute ass. They're getting the first overall pick next year, most likely, unless they just want to win a game for funsies. But they're awful. Yeah, sad. They were awful last year. They're going to be awful again. More awful, I think, this year.
Awfuler.
Awfuler.
There you go.
There we go. That's a good, what is it? Verb? Adjective?
Verb.
Noun?
Not noun. Verb.
It's a good verb to use. They're going to be awfuler.
That's not a word.
Shut up. When you're talking about the Saints, it's a word because they're that bad. So yeah, anything else you want to comment on the Saints?
Look, I can see this. I think this team's gonna be bad.
Yep.
I think the Derek Carr thing definitely shocked them because they weren't prepared for it. The way they handled that was also pretty piss poor.
Mm-hmm.
They're in cap hell, like you said. I won't be surprised if half this team is traded by the deadline. I think it'd be for their benefit to get Alvin Kamara out of there. If Chris Olave is healthy, he could be a good trade piece. Cameron Jones is a trade piece. And just completely overhaul the whole team again. And just start from scratch and build through the draft because...
But they need a good coach.
They do.
They have Kellen Moore. Now, granted, he could be just a glorified offensive coordinator. But we'll see. It's going to be hard to judge him based on the talent that's on the roster. So it's is he going to be like a Gerard Mayo, where even though they're losing, is he uplifting the team and putting people in places where they could succeed? He could, but he could be better.
That's probably going to be the main focus on the season. Is Kellen Moore going to be the guy going forward?
Is he competent? I think that's what you're looking. Is he competent?
Is he competent for Arch Manning? That's the question because they're getting. I'm sorry. They're getting Arch Manning.
I'm not gonna lie.
I'm sorry.
Arch, don't declare. Don't declare.
What?
Don't do it.
You're crazy.
He wants to go to the Saints? Stop. Awful team. You don't even know if the coach is good.
What are you, his father? You can be like Deion?
Yes.
Bad math in the Browns?
Yes. Don't declare. You have another year of eligibility. Play that. Get better. There you go.
Yeah, and I think in this division, if they do win some games, they're not going very far.
They'll win maybe 2, 3.
Yeah.
If they win 4, they're dumb. They just lost draft position. So
if I was them, I would start trading pieces out of there, and they could start as soon as training camp starts. Honestly.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Saints, for being awful. And awful again. Thank you very much. The next team,
The most interesting team I feel like on this division.
Carolina Panthers.
I mean,
It's
probably the worst start they've had to a season I've seen from a quarterback.
last year. Bryce Young was not good in the first 3 games, and he got benched for it. And, Andy Dalton dealt with some things. I think he was in a car accident or something. That's why Bryce Young had to start again.
Yeah.
And then Bryce Young actually showed flashes of what he was at Alabama. He showed that he was a competent quarterback, that he could make reads and that he could hit guys that are open, he could hit guys in stride, and that he just looked better. Not great, but better.
Right.
And whether that's him being good or not in the future, we shall see. But he showed improvement. Maybe the benching was good. Maybe Dave Canales, lit a fire under his ass or something, and he showed him hey, man, you could be an all-time bencher. You could be a number 1 overall pick on the bench all the time, unless you want to show up. And he played well. Could have beaten the Eagles that one game.
Yep.
I think now for them, I think it's just the talent acquisition part, getting pieces around Bryce Young to be able to truly see how good he could be. Because you're only you could be great, but you need competent, not even great guys, but competent pieces around you to be able to get the job done in the NFL. Competency, right? And are they building that? I think they are. They drafted Tedero McMillan high with the 8th overall pick. I think that was a great move. They went sexy with it.
Mm-hmm.
They got a wide receiver, big body. Being able to give Bryce Young any level of help is beautiful. They signed O-line. They drafted defense as well. So overall, I want to see an improvement from the Panthers this season. The division warrants potential improvement because the competition isn't as great, and you potentially have 2 free wins against the Saints. So take those 2 free wins and then add maybe 5-6 more. You're at 7-8 wins.
Sneaky
playoff team, right?
Yeah.
Especially in that division.
Yep.
So yeah, I like what the Panthers are doing, and I think that if they just continue to improve, they could get some sneaky wins. What is their schedule like? That's going to be a big indicator for me of how many wins they could get, and whether or not Bryce Young plays up to expectations in accordance with the roster. That's what I think. I think they have a easy-ish schedule, easy-ish. They play the Jaguars week 1. They play the
Jaguars,
Cardinals, Falcons, Patriots, Dolphins.
Cowboys.
Wow, this looks type easy. Cowboys, Jets, Bills, Packers, Saints, Falcons,
Niners.
49ers, Rams, Saints, Bucks, Seahawks. Wow, they not going to lie, they could
Sneaky 10?
It could be a sneaky 10 if they play above expectations.
That'd be a big jump for them.
That would be a
5 wins to 10
insane jump for them. Maybe I'll think 8.
I think 10 would be.
I think that's more fair.
I think 8's fair.
7 or 8, I think, is a good barometer. And if Bryce Young plays well in those wins, it shows you where your future could be if you just get more talent on the roster.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel about the Panthers last season and going to season forward?
I like this team last year. I thought they played really good football down the stretch. They were in almost every game. They almost beat the Chiefs in that crazy game. They were playing competitive football. You saw a big step from Bryce Young, I felt like, and what he could reach his full potential with. Thought Dave Canales did a great job down there and proved he's at least a competent coach, somewhat. But this is the year to prove it again, right? You have to show consistency, right? So that's a big indicator right now for this team. And you start the year very favorably with your schedule. You have pretty much some lighter teams that you play, so you can get off to a great start. So that's going to be really important as well. But I feel like overall, I think what I want to see from this team is consistency. You got better. Bryce Young showed flashes, and you're starting to build. So now you have to be consistent with your building, right? You need to show more wins, show more progression, show some really statement wins that you can make. And if you get into the playoffs, you get into the playoffs. But I think overall, you want to see progression from Bryce Young. You want to see progression from the team, because this has been a slow build down there in Carolina.
Very slow.
So you have to now start to see the fruits of that labor. Because if you don't see it now, then you have to start all over again, and that's going to be a big problem.
Yeah, you're going to have to trade some guys who may not develop into what you thought they were and what you thought they could be.
Right.
So player development
This will be
also.
third year.
Third year
Third
for
year.
Bryce Young.
So if they don't have a successful year, do they extend them? Or do they offer a fourth, fifth year? What do they do with it?
I think he'll get the fifth year option.
Yeah.
But after that, I think they'll start to look in other directions.
I think
if the play
But
isn't
what
up
if
to
he
par,
plays well, but the team still sucks?
then you give him the extension.
then you give him the extension.
You build around him.
Then you try to build around him.
That's what happened last year. He played better than his team. He made mid guys look good, and they were in every game on offense. Defensively, they were okay.
And sitting on the bench helped him a lot.
Yes,
I feel like it did.
like throwing a 5'9" guy in to play quarterback. That's tough. Like even it does. I don't matter about your skill. You're 5'9", right? It's hard. You're up against guys who are 6 feet tall, who are O linemen. You can't even see over your O line. You know what I mean? So it's obviously difficult. And then you're going from a slower paced game to a faster paced game in the NFL. These guys are fighting for their checks, fighting for their families. It's not just going to be all cupcakes and rainbows. Not everybody can be a CJ Stroud.
Yeah, and I feel like from a technical side too, like new coach, new system. He didn't learn it in time. A veteran came in, Andy Dalton. He knew the system. He knew what he was doing. He showed him the ropes. Shout out Andy Dalton. He's a big part of that. But no, I think it shows growth, right? That he's able to take the bench in, taking with pride, learning from it, and getting better. That's a great sign for a young quarterback. You love to see that. You want more guys to be like that. Anthony Richardson, right? You want to see growth from your quarterback like that.
Pew, 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 pew. What a shot.
But I feel like it's the truth. You know, that's what you want to see from a young quarterback, Zach Wilson. It's a good sign for a good quarterback to have that early on. So you see he has fight. You see he's a very competitive guy, and you see it in his team. He reflects the team. So I think they will have a better year than they had last year. I firmly believe that they have a better team than they had last year. I think McMillan was a great draft pick, like you said. I think Canales is going to show a really good growth from a coach as well. I think they'll struggle in the tougher games, but they'll be in it. I think they're not there yet, but if they show consistency and they show progression, they'll get there.
Yeah.
So I think that's gonna be the big. Even if I think the benchmark is 8 wins. If they get that, great. If they get more than that, it's been one of the best years they've had for a while.
Yeah.
If they get below 8th, then you have to start asking questions again.
Yeah.
Not
Like
the
if
bad
you get
thing.
like 5 wins, 6 wins, it's like,
Yeah.
maybe there are some games in there where like, all right, the team's just better, but you were good too. Maybe there's like circumstances as to why you have the wins that you have and how you played.
Right.
So we'll be able to judge that during the season. But overall, Panthers, you're in a decent spot. Decent spot right now. You're not the best team in the division, but you're in a decent spot to potentially grow into that.
Yeah.
So shout out to the Panthers. The Atlanta Falcons.
Oh God. What do we do with them?
Last year, Kirk Cousins was on fire. They were 6-3. They were cooking.
Top 10 quarterback.
Top 10 quarterback in the league potentially. He was flame throwing out there, and he was looking up to par with what his contract was, right? Because he signed that amazing contract. Shout out to his agent. I mean, geez. And then all of a sudden, they just started falling down a cliff where he went like a stretch of 4 games with no touchdowns and 10 interceptions, and the team was just losing consistently. And I felt like it was an overpay for Kirk Cousins at that point. And then this kind of verified it all, right? To where if he played just mid throughout the rest of that 6-3, 9-game start, you could have been like, okay, the contract's good. We're a playoff team. We're there somewhat with Kirk Cousins. He could be playing better, but he got us to a playoff game. He got us to this point, right? They drafted Michael Penix the year before. So they're like, all right.
Which you notably did not like.
I did not like that because it's like, why? But now I see why, because Kirk Cousins was a ticking time bomb in hindsight. And Michael Penix, he looked okay. I guess he's a rookie. So I guess you'll see what you can have in Michael Penix. Kirk Cousins is still on the team. I don't know what they're going to do with that contract. I think it's super unmovable because no team wants to take that on for being absolute mid. So, it's going to be tough. They do have pieces. Their offense is really, 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 really damn good. They have Drake London. You have Darnell Mooney. You have Bijan Robinson. You have Kyle Pitts. And the defense is getting better. They signed pass rush. They have decent linebackers. They have good corners. They could easily be the second best team. I don't think that they're the best team. Or they could be one of the worst teams because it all depends on how Michael Penix plays. Because are you going to play Kirk Cousins again? Probably not. So I guess we'll see how Michael Penix plays in a first, full year of what could be his start to the Falcons' tenure. So I guess we'll see. We'll see. But overall, I think that they're the second best team in this division. They have the potential to be the worst or one of the worst teams in this division.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anything else you got to add on the Falcons right there?
No, I agree. I think it's a okay team without Kirk Cousins. How they're going to be without him, I don't know, because you don't know what Michael Penix. But I think you're kind of banking on Michael Penix being a somewhat decent quarterback. I think that's why Kirk Cousins is still on the roster, because Penix could also be a ticking time bomb waiting to happen. So, I mean, look, I think they didn't trade Kirk Cousins because nobody wants that contract. There were some hypothetical trades going around, but some of them are ridiculous. Like people had him go back to Minnesota.
Stop.
So, I mean, look, I think the Falcons are interesting because they're not bad.
Mm-hmm.
They're not bad enough to say they're the worst team in the division. They're not the worst team in football. But they're not good. It's they're like in between that space where they're gonna be good, but they're not gonna be great. And if you're good, you're not gonna beat the best teams in the NFC. It's gonna be a battle for second between them and the Panthers. I think the Panthers have a better team. If the Panthers are more consistent, they have the better team. So that's probably my take on it. Could they sneak in if they're better than the Panthers? Probably. You saw it last year. They were a game away and they fumbled it. Look, I don't know what this team's weird. It's a weird team to look at. You just don't know how good everybody is. You're still waiting for Kyle Pitts to figure out what he's going to be. You're still trying to see what that offense is, if it really is elite with Michael Penix. And that defense is okay. It's not great. Nothing spectacular. And you already had controversy with what's his name?
James Pierce?
No. The when they called the Shedeur Sanders, the son.
Oh, the Jeff Ulbrich.
Jeff Ulbricht's son. Right, so you're already on the wrong side of the season right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think this team has a lot of bad juju on it right now. I don't think it's a great feeling over there from the outside looking in. And I truly believe that they're going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. I think when push comes to shove, their schedule is not that bad when you look at it, but I think they're just going to find a way to screw it up.
I mean, let's run through it a little bit, right? Let's see. So they got the Bucks. I think that's a divisional game. Vikings, Panthers, Commanders, Bills, 49ers. That's a decently tough stretch, I guess. They play the Dolphins, play the Patriots, play the Colts, play Panthers, play Saints. That's a pretty decently easy stretch. Then you play the Jets, Seahawks, Bucks, Cardinals, Rams, Saints.
That's what I mean. There are wins here. They're better than a lot of those teams, but they could also easily be worse than them, and they could also be losing those games. You know what I mean? So I truthfully, I won't know till the season starts, but from a prediction standpoint, I don't think they're going to go very far.
Would you say that they're the definition of mid?
Very mid. Very mid.
I mean, it's just like...
They might be worse than mid, honestly.
Maybe a tick below mid?
I think a tick below mid.
All right, fair enough. I mean, and which is funny because they're the second best team. And they're not even mid.
Yeah.
So that's just going to show you how awful this NFC South is. So, yeah, I have nothing else to add on the Falcons. I think that if their offense is humming and that defense could play up, I think they have a decent chance at being a wild card team. But overall, it's Tampa Bay's division. We're just living in it.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay is the best team in that division, bar none. Baker Mayfield had a really good year last year, even with all the injuries surrounding that offense. He played really well. He showed why he got paid. He's my guy. And him and Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Emeka Mbuka they drafted.
They went a leader.
And you have still, what do you call it, Bucky Irving. You have Rashad White. You have decently good offensive line. The defense can use some work, maybe on the edge, maybe in the secondary as well. The defense was
They
kind
signed
of
Hassan Reddick.
yeah. The defense kind of scares me a bit because Tampa Bay's defense hasn't always been that great.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we'll continue to see how that defense is going to look during the year. But if their defense is playing good football, they're going to win a lot of games. And that offense is going to be the primary reason why they win a lot of games because that offense is humming and it's really good and it's fast-paced and they pass the ball a lot. They have electric playmakers on the outside and the slot at the running back position. They're just a good offensive team. And
They're a great offensive team.
Great offensive team. And in this division, might be all you need. So check out their schedule. I want to see how this schedule is going to look out for them because if the schedule isn't, the easiest
Favorable.
or the favorable one, maybe they can lose more games. But they won 10 games last year. They were a decent team. So
Falcons, Texans, Jets, Eagles.
okay. I mean, that's meh.
Seahawks, Niners, Lions, Saints. Patriots, Bills, Rams, Cardinals. Saints, Falcons, Panthers, Dolphins, Panthers.
There's 9 to 11 wins in there. Maybe. I think so. I think
there's 9.
No, I think to
That's
the
a
Bills
tough,
game.
That's a tough schedule.
Bills, they could win, but that's a tough game. Bills, their defense,
That's in
sometimes.
Buffalo.
I don't think that matters. Potentially
It kind of matters.
in what, November?
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield plays in the cold. He'll be fine.
Rest of the team doesn't.
They're fine. They'll be fine. The Lions game, they beat the Lions last year. Sneaky win.
Yep.
They play the Eagles tough.
That's early on too.
Early on, maybe Eagles are struggling maybe a little bit with their new offensive system.
Mm-hmm.
Play the Rams. That could be an offensive juggernaut shootout game. Play the Cardinals. I think they're better than the Cardinals. Play the Dolphins. They're better. I think 10 wins is like
Benchmark.
peak maybe for me peak. If they win, I guess if they play below expectations in some of these games, maybe they could be like 9.
That's my thing. Like I don't feel like this is gonna be like a team that like finishes below 500. Like they'll have 8 wins, they'll have 9 wins. Pushing 12 or 11, I don't think
I'm not
so.
too sure. Yeah, maybe 11, maybe, but 12.
That'd be a really good year. If they get to 11 with this schedule, they might be one of the best teams in the NFC.
Hey, Tampa Bay's listen. Baker Mayfield's my guy.
I know he's your guy.
He's my guy.
I know.
I believe in him. And whatever he does just turns the goal. He brought the Browns to the playoffs. I need everybody to remember that that year. He brought the damn Browns to the fucking playoffs and then won a playoff game against the Steelers. Let's go.
Should have been a Giant.
Should have been a Giant. Oh, I wish he was a Giant. We would have had so much more success.
No, I mean, I agree with you. The offense is a leader. I think the health of wide receiver is going to be also a big question.
Which I feel like is why they drafted
Mbuka.
wide receiver
Yeah.
early on.
They'll still got Sterling Shepard in there, so it's a good depth piece to have.
Mm-hmm.
I think Baker Mayfield could work with anybody, but I think health at the end of the season was very bad for them last year.
Mm-hmm.
They lost Rashid White. They lost Bucky Irving. They lost Chris Godwin, obviously. Mike Evans was kind of struggling with something for a little bit.
Injuries was
injury was a big issue for this team last year. So
yeah.
if they could stay healthy, I think the defense is okay. Todd Bowles is a good defensive coach. I think they'll be good in this division. I think they should easily win this division.
Easily. Well.
Maybe they get out of the if they get a favorable matchup in the playoffs, they can get out of the first round.
Mm-hmm.
And offense can beat anybody. That's for damn sure. If this offense is healthy and humming, and Baker Mayfield's healthy, this offense can beat anybody.
Yep.
So it's an interesting team to watch and see how they play out the year. But I don't see them ever falling below like if they get 7 wins, that's a disaster of a season in my opinion.
100%. Because you pay Baker Mayfield all this money, you've drafted around him, you're building around him. 7 wins is not acceptable, especially in this piss poor division. Are you kidding me?
If they lose the division, it's a disaster.
It's a terrible year.
Yeah.
It's an awful year.
100%.
This is the year where this is the easiest division to win.
Yeah.
And you should win it. So,
Just anything to add?
Anything to add about my boy Baker? My beautiful, big, strong boy?
I want you to stop talking about him like that.
No, I will never. He's my Pookie Bear, Baker. He's my Pookie Bear.
No, I think he'll have a decent year. I'm not too high up on him the way you are, but I think
Multiple playoff appearances.
you're right. You're right. You're right. So he's
Wins in
definitely a
the
playoff guy.
playoffs.
So we'll see him in the playoffs.
Lost in the first round last year, though.
Listen,
I was that was the Commanders' year,
yeah.
right? Tough game, tough break. You know what happens to all of us. You eat your crow, then you move on to the next one. He ate his crow. He'll be all right. So shout out to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There you go. There's nothing else to talk about really, unless we're talking about hypothetical trades.
Rashad Bateman got a 3-year extension. Good for him.
Oh yeah. I think that's a bit too much.
Prediction for the division. Before
prediction for the division.
Yeah.
All right, the NFC South. I have
pretty chalk, I think.
yeah, I have Tampa.
Are you going top to bottom? Okay.
I have Tampa, Atlanta, Panthers, Saints. Atlanta and Panthers, between them, there's like a game or two separating them. Not that big of a
I agree.
margin.
I think Tampa. I'm going to say Carolina second. I think they do make the playoffs this year. I think they get to 9 wins.
You and every Carolina Panther fan would
I'm
be
very
so
high on-
happy. Yo, shout out to the Panthers, man.
Shout out
God
Quadri.
bless
That's
them.
my guy. Shout out Quadri.
Yeah.
I'm high on them. I like their team. I think they will. I like the way Bryce Young played last year. They were in a tough. They played tough games down the stretch. They lost a couple close games. I think they'll be better. The defense got better. I think Dave Canales will figure it out. And look, I want to believe in them. I like Carolina. I think they've done it the right way. They've built the team up the right way.
Mm-hmm.
They've taken their licks. And I like when teams are starting to build up again. They're starting to get better again. They're doing it properly, like the Broncos, like the Panthers. So I want to see growth from them. I really want them to do well this year. So hopefully they do. I have them at 9 wins. I think they'll make a playoffs as like the final wild card, losing the first round, but I think they will get there. I had Atlanta third, Saints fourth.
Yeah, very chalk.
I think you can flip Atlanta and Panthers either way, but I'm just giving the edge to Carolina because I vicariously want them to do well.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, pretty chalk. These mid divisions are just
Who do you
real
agree
chalk.
with, me or Lewis?
About
The division. You have Tampa Bay first, obviously.
huh?
You have Tampa Bay first, obviously.
Obviously.
Tampa Bay. They
Uh-huh.
all suck. Because I would put the Saints last.
Right.
Okay, Tampa Bay Falcons.
Okay.
Who's the third team?
Carolina.
Oh, okay. Tampa Bay. Okay, no. Tampa Bay Falcons, Carolina Saints.
Okay.
Tampa Bay,
That's
Falcons, Carolina Saints.
That's
Okay, that's
Yeah.
pretty fair.
I wanted to put Carolina number 2, but I felt like there's still a lot of dysfunction. I feel like a little bit. I don't know.
A lot of dysfunction.
I don't trust them.
Fair enough. Yeah,
Okay.
that's fair. Bryce Young really, if we want to make a caveat, he really hasn't proved much other than like 6 good games.
There were 6 really good games.
And then there you go. So you're banking on
what
that
did you guys say
potential of.
again? Who did you have?
I had Carolina second, and then third, fourth was the same. He had Atlanta second, and then Carolina third.
Oh, okay, so we had the same list.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
They're pretty much the same. I don't think the gap between second and third is going to be too big anyway.
I
It's
said
not
Carolina's
really
going to be a
an
playoff
exciting
team. That's what I said.
conference.
My crazy thing is I said Carolina's going to be a playoff team. That was my crazy thing.
Yeah.